jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and we're trying something a little bit different this week. So we got the normal sports show thing that we do, Gridiron Apocalypse. I think you're all probably unfamiliar with it because it doesn't get very many views, but a couple of you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're going to be doing that live this week, and we might be doing it live more often going forward. So if you guys have any of your comments and anything will be put up on the screen at the end of the show, and we might respond to it at the end. But this is just the normal show, and so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna do our NFL previews, and then we got Mikey coming in for the power rankings later after that. And in the end, we got a segment from the Boeskool brothers, just as always, with their niche nonsense. I do not know what to expect from that because frankly, I haven't watched it, but I look forward to watching it with you guys because I trust them to put out good content. Stranger says Who Day. Like I said, I'm not going to be responding to all the comments live, but we'll be cycling through them at the end. So, Who Day, everybody. Let's get going and let's see if this works out. All right. So this week, we've got some absolutely massive matchups for you in the NFL this week. We're starting off with Raiders-Broncos, which I'm not really entirely sure what to think about either of these teams, except for, I think we all know the Raiders suck. We all know the Raiders suck fucking balls. The Broncos are 7-2. I don't know how the fuck they got to 7-2 because, frankly, I don't think they're anywhere near as good as being a 7-2 football team. But the Raiders probably don't even deserve to have the 2 wins that they have. Geno Smith is absolutely lightening up this year as in terms of just throwing interceptions left and right. The Bengals would have a quarterback who's in that discussion if Jake Browning hadn't got benched at this point. Joe Flacco was up there too, but he's had a pretty good start with the Bengals before him for the fucking defense. So, but we'll get to the Bengals, obviously, when we get to them. Right now, the Broncos are rolling with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Somehow, I don't know how they're doing it, but they're making it work. And the Raiders very much are not. So it's a division matchup. We'll see what happens. But I will say one thing. The Broncos and the Raiders, I'm not outside of Broncos and Raiders fans, I don't know if this is going to be a particularly compelling matchup. So you will be getting Who Day versus Who Dat next week on this Thursday. So tomorrow you'll be getting Who Day versus Who Dat. But you might be more interested in watching me and Mikey than you will be in watching the Broncos and Raiders. But we'll see what happens. I can't imagine the Raiders are going to pull off a win, but then again, the Broncos are weird. Next up, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Houston Texans. The Texans are another team that I have no idea what to think about. Are they good? No, they're not. But are they kind of in the general realm of good? They might be. CJ Stroud, obviously, we'll see what's going on with him. But the Jaguars are the most bipolar franchise I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. When they're rolling, they're a really fun, interesting team. But the other half of the time, probably more than half of the time, they're kind of a garbage franchise. So right now, they seem like they're kind of in one of their competitive phases, which is really nice for those fans down in Duval. But I don't know. Well, they're a weird team. I could just as easily see them losing to the Texans in some random stupid fashion and kind of shooting themselves in the foot, as I could see them running away with this game. So I really don't know. It's good. I think this would be a fun game to watch, though. If you got this one for your 1 p.m. slot, then I think you could do a lot worse than the Jaguars Texans. Next up, you got the Falcons Colts, which I don't know why this is a morning game, so I don't know why it's after the Jaguars-Texans game in the ESPN lineup. But you know what? I didn't make that. This is more just like this is the first time we've done this live episode, so I just kind of threw something up there and to see if it worked. And apparently ESPN's fucking stupid. So that's coming second in terms of the Sunday games here, whatever. But you know who else is fucking stupid? The Atlanta Falcons. And I know somebody who's going to appreciate that joke who will be coming on later. But you know, Michael Penix, is that experiment even really? I don't know. I really think Michael Penix could end up being a good quarterback in the NFL. I just don't know if the Atlanta Falcons right now are the franchise to make that happen with. Like, we'll see. Bijan Robinson, I think, could potentially have a good game in this one because the Colts defense with Lou Anarumo, and I'm very familiar with Lou Anarumo, but I could see Bijan Robinson, very specifically him, having a good game in this one. I really don't think the Colts are going to lose 2 in a row with the way they've been playing, though. And, of course, the most recent one, they lost the fucking Steelers because, like, God hates me, I think. But you never know. You never know. So we will see what happens with that one. But I think the Indianapolis Colts, this feels like a bounce-back game, and I think they're going to wipe the floor with them personally. Next up, Giants going to Chicago to play the Bears. Both of these teams, I feel like I've been saying that a lot so far, but it's true. And I really think that's just kind of like the way this season's kind of gone. Who knows what you're going to get out of either of these two teams? The Chicago Bears just dropped 49 points on my Bengals last week. Why? Because the Bengals have a garbage defense. That's entirely why. It has nothing to do with the Chicago Bears being any good. It has everything to do with the Bengals having the most god-awful, ass, garbage fucking defense I've ever seen in my life, and they make me want to claw my eyes out. But Caleb Williams is a talented guy, and Kyle Monangai is an NFL football player who is paid to play football, so he can't be that bad, right? You know, and he dropped a bunch of yards on my Bengals, but I'm pretty sure my 10-year-old son could do that with the way they were tackling. So I do think that they'll probably beat the Giants, who, you know, even with the Jackson Dart boost, they're still 2-7. They don't really seem like a very good football team. Maybe this is me just trying to make myself feel better with how fucking bad the Bengals looked last week against the Bears. Maybe they look really good this week, and I'm like, well, you know what? We just lost to a really good football team, guys. That's what happened. That's all it was. The Bengals aren't actually garbage, even though, if you use your eyeballs, they look like garbage, and you listen to people talk about the stats, they sound like garbage, and like every sense that you have is that the Bengals are fucking garbage. But you know what? It could just be like your own senses gaslighting you, and that's as an insane American, it is my right to decide that is what is actually happening in the world right now. So, and if you don't believe me, then fuck off. All right, so next up we got the Buffalo Bills going to Miami to play the Dolphins. Rest in peace, Dolphins, because the Bills looked really fucking good last week, and the Dolphins looked like as bad as the Bengals looked last week. Overall, the Dolphins are much worse. I think the Bengals defense might actually be worse than the Dolphins. I think the Bengals defense might be worse than the Dolphins offense, and that's saying something. But that still doesn't change the fact that the Dolphins are a really bad overall football team right now. And Bills just took down the Chiefs, who the Chiefs are 5-4, and Mikey had them really high in his power rankings last week. I hope it doesn't fucking happen again this week. I don't know. I haven't taken a look at the power rankings. I mean, I put them in the graphic, but I didn't actually look too much at them. So I'm going to be just as surprised as you guys are when we get to that segment. But I do think the Dolphins are kind of cooked, and it's going to be even worse when they see James Cook this week. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens are going to Minnesota to play the Vikings, and I'd love for the Vikings to come through in this one. I just don't see how that's going to happen. The Vikings have looked like ass lately, and the Ravens when Lamar Jackson's on the field, at least most recently, have looked pretty good. Now, earlier in the season, they didn't. They're 3-5, so I mean, I'm not personally. I hate them, but from an outside perspective, I'm not ready to buy quite into the Ravens just yet. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not quite ready to completely buy into them. But maybe that's exactly what they want. Lamar Jackson does have 14 touchdowns and only 1 interception on the season, and I mean he's been hurt for part of it, but that's still more touchdowns than Josh Allen has thrown, and that's still more touchdowns than a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL have thrown. Like, good. I'm actually looking at it. Good Lord, that's crazy. But that's Lamar Jackson. He's that kind of player. The Vikings, on the other hand, I believe I probably should actually looked at this before I started, but I believe JJ McCarthy's back. And I believe last time we saw him, he looked okay, but he's no Lamar Jackson. So I really hope they don't. But it kind of seems like the type of game the Ravens are gonna really kind of hit their stride with. So we'll see what happens. Oh boy! Y'all see this next game on the docket? The Cleveland Browns going to New York to play the Jets, and the Jets make me so sad. You know why? Because they're an awful football team that made us look like they're bitches. That's rough, dude. That's and they went right back to being awful. they just I don't even know what to say at this point. I can't keep pulling everything back to the Bengals because the Bengals aren't the only team in the NFL that matters, but they're the only team that matters to me, damn it. But either way, the New York Jets are hapless and god-awful, and so are the Cleveland Browns. Both teams at least have a pretty solid defense, and their offense, yeah. I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, so maybe you give the slight edge to the Jets, but I'll also ask you, do you care? Did you put money on this game? Because if you put money on this game, you probably care. But I'm not even entirely sure Jets and Browns fans care about this game. The Browns season is basically over already. The Jets season, I don't think anybody thought the Jets season was ever on. So we'll see what happens there. But that's going to be a stinker. Next up, you got the New England Patriots going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. See, this is what happens when I don't have editing on my side. Going to Tampa Bay, play the Buccaneers, and is this the Tom Brady Bowl? I mean, he doesn't play anymore. He's not, but I mean, that's obviously the connecting factor that most people think of between these two teams is Tom Brady. But right now, it's Drake May versus Baker Mayfield, two quarterbacks who are looking a lot better right now than I think a lot of people would have pegged them earlier in their careers. It's going to be a hard-hitting, big-time type of game. So we'll have to see how this one goes, which I feel like I've been saying about a lot of the games. So maybe I need to find some better things to say. But it's my first time doing this show live, so give me a break. This one's gonna be fun. Honestly, this one's gonna. I would give the edge, and I'm not doing official predictions right now. I'm just kind of talking through the games. Obviously, Tampa Bay is the favorite team here, but obviously not by much. The Patriots have been winning a lot more than I think some people expected to this year. Not me. I think if y'all go back to the beginning of the season, you'll remember I said the Patriots are going to be really good this year. And then they made me look stupid for a couple of weeks. But now I think I can say, hey, maybe I was right about the Patriots. Maybe they could be a pretty good fucking football team this year. It's not like they've been beating the best teams in the entire world, but they beat the Bills. So, Next up, you got the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. And, well, I think y'all know the implications of talking about this game on this show. We'll be once again, we'll be bringing in Mikey later, and we'll talk to him. But the Panthers are rolling right now, dude. Like, the Panthers are absolutely rolling right now. It's like they just beat the Packers. Obviously, they're not beating every single team that comes across their slate, but they're really competitive with basically every team that comes across their slate. And they got off to a bit of a rough start at the beginning of the season, but they've really kind of turned it back around. So the Carolina Panthers are a team to pay attention to right now. And the New Orleans Saints are also a team to pay attention to. Like if you're like driving on the highway and they're in the middle of the road, you probably want to swerve to avoid them. Beyond that, though, you probably should not pay attention to the New Orleans Saints because they're a very bad football team. That, Spencer Rattler got benched and he was playing pretty good. But I think it's because they wanted to see what they had in Tyler Shuck. It's like you're gonna draft a guy in the second round, you kind of got to do that unless Spencer Rattler's like a fucking godsend, which he wasn't quite that good. So I get what they're doing, but there's I think Mikey would have a real good time if the Saints beat him this week, but I don't see it happening. Next up, you've got the Arizona Cardinals going to Seattle to take on the 12th man, the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold is having a hell of a season so far. It's another one where it's like, I wonder if anybody ever said anything about that at the beginning of the season. Got called crazy. But it does appear that Kyler Murray might be the problem in Arizona, which, by the way, you want to keep talking about like predictions I got bullied for. You want to talk about things that I said that people said I'm crazy for saying. Well, you know, I will say in people's defense, I also said the Bengals were going to be a Super Bowl team this year. So maybe I am stupid. But the Seattle Seahawks are also one of the best teams in the NFL right now at 6-2. And I don't see them as Super Bowl contenders, but I see them as a team that like could potentially make a dark horse run at the Super Bowl if something crazy happens, right? Like I wouldn't bet on them in any way, shape, or form to be in the Super Bowl. But it's one of those things like you could blink and suddenly the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. You're like, whoa, how'd that happen? But then you think about it and you're like, well, I mean, JSN's playing pretty well. Sam Darnold's having a resurgence, you know. I will say, like, Sam Darnold of Seattle and Minnesota, I think is the Seattle. The Sam Darnold that Seattle and Minnesota have seen, I think, is the Sam Darnold that the Jets drafted way back in the day. The problem was he was playing for the New York Jets, and they made him see ghosts. So if that's not proof that getting drafted high isn't always a good thing, I don't know what is. Let's see. We got the Los Angeles Rams going to San Francisco to play the 49ers this week. How many players do the 49ers even have left at this point? And they keep winning football games. That's crazy. That right there should show you just how honestly unbelievable of a coach Kyle Shanahan is. To have the 49ers constantly, year in and year out, in contention, despite the fact that, like, while I'm going to get rid of that ESPN logo there, then do that. Okay. To have the 49ers in contention year in and year out, despite possibly having the single worst strength and conditioning program in the entire NFL, because they're constantly having like 40 people on the injured reserve every goddamn year. And I don't know what they're doing in San Francisco, but whatever they're doing, it's got to be some sort of combination of like angel dust and meth. Like I don't know how else to explain it, because they're constantly screwing themselves over, but they're constantly getting through it and getting stuff done anyway. So You know what? Whatever. The Rams, on the other hand, are also a very well coached football team because that's a team that has seen an incredible amount of turnover. Doesn't matter who is on that football team, they always end up being competitive. That's another team like the Seahawks that it wouldn't be crazy to see them in the Super Bowl at the end of the season. You wouldn't bet on them being the team that makes it, but it's like if they do, you'd be like, well, yeah, I can see that. You got Matt Stafford, who I think I don't know if there's too many people in the NFL these days who don't root for Matt Stafford to do well. I mean, shit, that guy beat my team in the Super Bowl, like the only Super Bowl that my team had ever been to in my lifetime, and I root for Matt Stafford, right? Not Jalen Ramsey and OBJ, but luckily neither of those guys are on the Rams anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. Moving on, you got the Detroit Lions going to Washington to play the oddly hapless Commanders. Like, it has been like a disaster of a season for the Commanders, who came in. This was a team that we came into the season thinking, oh, they're going to be like one of the teams in the NFC that you're going to have to pay attention to. And now they're 3-6. Now, granted, Jaden Daniels getting on and off hurt a lot this season has definitely not helped. But they're hapless all over the place. Like, it's hard to imagine putting together a team, like a roster like the Commanders have, and expecting every year you're going to compete. It's almost like, they should put like the stripes on their helmets and start getting in fights with their players in the offseason and making their fans, oh God, are the Commanders the Bengals of the NFC? Fuck. At least they have a Super Bowl. Anyway, the Sunday night football game. And this one be a really, really fun game because between two AFC likely playoff contenders. And from a Bengals fan perspective, which none of you people care about, except Stranger, you probably care because being a Bengals fan and all, and probably a large majority of my audience being Bengals fan probably cares about anything to do with the Bengals. But most fans in the NFL don't care what the Bengals think. But I'll tell you, from a Bengals fan perspective, I hate the Steelers with everything in me, but either of these teams losing could be good for the Bengals because, we're 3-6, and that's not good. Technically, the season's not over. You never know what could happen. And if something crazy is going to happen, it's probably going to come at the expense of one of these two teams. So whoever loses, they're only 2 games ahead of us. That's all I'm saying. You just gotta think about it the smart way, and not be a Bengals fan. But actually, you can think about it in the insane way and be a Bengals fan, but also lie to yourself and tell yourself that it's going to be okay. And then the Monday Night Football game. Keep putting that ESPN logo on there. Monday Night Football game. You've got the Green Bay Packers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you want to talk about a fun football game. The Packers are highly inconsistent this season. I mean, they lost to the Browns. They just most recently lost to the Panthers, and maybe the Panthers are a good football team, so that's something to consider. But they almost lost to the Bengals after Joe Flacco literally just showed up earlier that week. And they probably would have if it weren't for a couple of plays here and there. But they've been playing a lot of teams way closer than they should have. They almost lost to the Cardinals. Like I said, they if the Cardinals game and the Bengals game had just had a couple of plays gone differently, then the Green Bay Packers would currently be sitting at 3-4. And with their losses being to the Carolina Panthers, the worst possible version of the Cincinnati Bengals, the Carolina Panthers, and I forget the other team, but I just said them a few minutes ago. Point being, the Packers, they've beaten the Cowboys. They've had some pretty impressive wins this season, but they've also had some really questionable wins this season. And when Micah Parsons got brought in, the whole point was all the Packers fans and a lot of NFL talking heads, which I guess is what I am now, but I wasn't saying it. Where the Packers are, the Packers are a Super Bowl team now, and it's like, well, I don't know if they are. Like, Micah Parsons is a really good player, but he doesn't fix all of the problems that the Packers had. They already had a pretty decent pass rush. Maybe not. Maybe yes, it got better with Micah Parsons, but then again, you see games like the Panthers game where he basically completely doesn't contribute at all, and that's not because he sucks. That's just because he's somewhat an inconsistent of a player, and also gets targeted because of how good of a player he is, right? So I don't know what to tell you about that game other than it's going to be really fun, and the way both of these two teams have been playing lately, there's a lot of inconsistency between both of them. Who knows who's going to win? In that case, you probably have to put your money on the home team and say the Packers are probably going to take it. But again, you could put a list of outcomes on a dartboard and throw a dart and have about as much chance of being right as you would have of actually picking the game. So that'll be an interesting one to watch, but it could really determine the NFC race as far as the way the playoffs shape up. Other than that, you got the Bengals on bye, thank fucking God. So I don't know if I can handle watching that team another week in a row. It should be against the Geneva Convention. It should be considered a war crime to force people to watch that fucking defense, and then not only watch them play like that, but laugh about it after the fact. Like they're just like joking around in the locker room, like they didn't just let up 49 points to the Chicago fucking Bears, and our offense put up 42 points, and like you got Jamar Chase and Chase Brown absolutely steaming with the media, like poking and prodding at them with questions, and they're trying everything to do to keep their composure. They're like, I'm not going to say anything about the defense because I'm a good teammate who's not going to start a fight and finish the fucking game, but I'm a good teammate who's not going to... That was what it was like. I had to watch that shit. I don't know what I did as a fan to deserve this, because I wasn't the one out here like fucking like throwing like you see this, like the worst of the worst that it gets on Twitter. Well, most of us aren't fucking like that. So I don't know what we fucking did to deserve this football team, but it's gross and I hate it. Maybe it's Eli Apple's fault. I don't know. Maybe Mikey had a point after all. But speaking of Mikey, we're going to bring him in because he's got some fun opinions for us. So Mikey, I'm going to bring you up. I'm going to do it in a less clunky way next time. But anyway, why don't you say hi to everybody?
What's up, everyone? Yeah, so... do I even need to introduce myself?
You don't have to introduce yourself exactly, but yeah, I think you got a bunch of power rankings, right?
Yeah. So are you going to bring the power rankings up?
Yeah, when you're ready.
All right, well, I'm ready now.
Okay. There you go.
All right, let me wait for them to come up on my end. I got him now. So, all right. At number 10, coming in hot, we got the New England Patriots, who are on I believe, 6-game winning streak. I just felt like I had to put them in the top 10 now. I think this is actually their first time on the top 10, and I didn't know they were that good. Well, I did, but I didn't at the same time. Where it's like, I was keeping track of games, but they were. Every game that they played was against a trash team, and sometimes they would even struggle against them early on. But they are 7-2. I gotta respect it. They are currently winning that division, the same division with Josh Allen and the Bills in it. And I just feel like I just couldn't leave them out the top 10 for any longer, because who else was I gonna replace them with? The Steelers, no. Broncos, maybe, but they look.
Damn right, you're not gonna put the Steelers in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Patriots number 10 as of for right now. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns about that one?
No, I'm good.
Alright. Number 9, we got the Detroit Lions, and this might be a little low to some of y'all, but bro, they just lost to JJ McCarthy and them boys. It's like, I don't know how to think about the Lions. It's like some games they'll play great, and some games they'll look like shit. It makes no sense for Detroit. Like they blew out Tampa, but then last week against Minnesota, they played like they didn't know what they were supposed to do out there. Like JJ McCarthy was out there running like he was freaking Michael Vick on steroids. It's like, I don't know what this man was doing. And the score may have been 27-24, but if you were keeping close on the game, the score was closer than what the game was. So yeah, Lions at number 9. Y'all are on the suspect watch as of for right now. You have any questions, comments, or concerns about that one?
This is a team that people were saying a couple weeks ago was like, you know, the big thing, right? Like, I mean, they beat the Bears 52-21, and then they beat the Ravens, who everybody didn't realize the Ravens weren't any good at the time, but people didn't realize. So, you know, they demolished the Bears, beat the Ravens, and then pretty decisively beat the Browns, and then they beat the Bengals. But like, that was the that was the Jake Browning Bengals. So like, I don't know if it's anything to really get all that excited about, but people got excited about it, and yeah, there ain't much really to pay attention to with the Lions. Through some of that, like that Bears game was pretty good, but I mean, like you said, they just lost to the Vikings, and
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the Vikings, I understand division games can go either way, but it's not just that they lost to Minnesota, it's that they were playing sluggish against them too. Like, I think there was one point where they were down by like 10 points. It's like, you can't be doing that against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sorry, I don't care if it's a division game or not. You gotta handle your business. But yeah, now number 8, right? Yeah. Number 8, we got the San Francisco 49ers, man. I don't know how they're even here, to be honest with you. I don't know. I made the rankings and I don't know how they're here. Man, they have so many injuries. They could freaking go shopping with the amount of injuries, man. They have a whole laundry list of injuries, bro. They have the amount of injuries to the point where you could freaking build a freaking building from the list of injuries. It's like, bro, I don't know how, like, dude, like, like the 49ers, man, they are one of those teams. Like, they just played the Giants. I understand the Giants are like a powerhouse team, and they're probably not even a good team, but it's like, man, like, they got Mac Jones playing like he's, you know, freaking prime Dan Marino, bro. It's like, it makes no sense. But, you know what? Sometimes in life, you just can't question certain things, and I feel like this is one of them. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the 49ers?
No, continue.
Alright, let's see. Number 7, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. The Buccaneers, they are coming off their bye week. The last time we saw them, they got obliterated by Detroit. I think, no, that's a lie. Last time we saw them, they obliterated the Saints. But, you know, I try to block out that game. You know, we don't got to talk about that. But, yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, Baker Mayfield, hey, he's been looking really strong. I feel like he's kind of died off a little bit since early in the season, but he's still having a good year. You know, he's not playing as great as he did. In fact, the last game he played against the Saints, he really didn't do that well. The only reason that they won is because they're playing the Saints. But yeah, I mean, Mike Evans is out for most of the season, so.
Rip.
Did you just say rip?
I said rip. Because they were playing the Saints.
Yep. And then my heart got ripped out of my shoulder, which we will talk about for number 6. But yeah, the Buccaneers are number 7. Well, number 6 we'll talk about it for number 5. That's right, that's, yeah. But number 6, we got the LA Rams. Well, do you have anything to say about Tampa Bay before we move on?
No, just keep going.
All right, number 5. Number 6. We got the LA Rams, man. The Rams put belt to ass against the New Orleans Saints, man. Matthew Stafford, it's always the Saints, bro. Matthew Stafford dotted up JaQuincy McKinstry, throwing 4 touchdowns against his head. The run game was dominant. Their defense was dominant. Their offense was dominant. it was painful it's painful that I'm saying this, but the Rams broke us, and they are number 6. Do you have anything to say about that?
I think the Rams are. Oh wait, hold on. Gotta turn that off. I think the Rams are I took a. Who was it? Was it Connor? I think it might have been Connor. It was either Connor or somebody else who suggested we put the ESPN rankings next to your rankings in the overlay. So I started doing that, and they got the Rams listed at number 3.
Oh wow!
I'm not entirely sure what their metric is there, but they got them at number 3. So you got them lower than they should be, apparently.
I mean, I understand that, but I feel like I don't know. It's kind of hard to talk about the Rams because it's like I still have that Ravens game in my mind. I understand they beat the Ravens, but it's like, bro, I mean, they freaking beat Tyler 117-3. I don't know. Like, I like to take past games into account as well as this game and games that will happen in the future and how I think this could dictate them. But man, I think the Rams. Look, I think if you say they're top 3, I won't argue with you. But they're number 6, and my rankings are the only one that matters. Anyways, number 5, we got the Seattle Seahawks, man, who they keep doing this to Washington. Poor Washington. First they had to deal with RG3 against Seattle. Now they got to deal with Jane Daniels. Poor Washington. But I think was
that Seattle that happened with RG3?
Yeah.
That was against Seattle? That's crazy.
In fact, a fun fact, and this is like a theory, it happened on the same yard line, in the same stadium, against the same team.
You know what? That's like, I remember the Commanders are a weird football team because the same thing happened with, you remember when Alex Smith got that gruesome injury for Washington? And it was like, it was something like that. It was like the same yard line and the same like point in the game that Joe Theismann had his horrific leg injury.
Yeah.
Like, what is up with Washington and these like crazy ass injuries?
Yeah, but I think we can all agree. Look, injuries suck as a whole, but I think we can all agree that what injury hurt Washington the most. It's when they lost Marshawn Lattimore.
Well, I think it's when Dan Snyder didn't fall off a cliff 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
They're still suffering from those consequences.
But yeah, Seattle. I mean, I could go on a freaking everything on Seattle, man. They drafted Torrey Horton last year. He's the steal of the draft. They just traded for my boy Rashid Shaheed, which I still can't forgive Mickey Loomis for that. But they just traded for my boy Rashid Shaheed yesterday. And they just destroyed Washington. It was like, 38-7 or 38-14, something like that. It doesn't matter, though. It's irrelevant. Seattle. Man, look, I said this a couple weeks ago, but if Seattle is playing football in February, I will be one of the least shocked people on this earth. In fact, I actually made a prediction a couple weeks ago. Seattle is my dark horse Super Bowl contender. Stay tuned. I actually had Seattle being good this season. I think I had Seattle making it to the NFC Championship. It was either championship or the division round, but I had them going far in the playoffs, so this isn't really a surprise to me. Do you have anything else to add on Seattle?
Nope. I agree with you about the dark horse Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, so at number 5, and this might be a little controversial, but hear me out. I still got the Chiefs, and you might be like,
you said number 5 is number 4.
Number 4, whatever. But yeah, you might be like, okay, hear me out. Every single year, they play against the Bills in the regular season, and they get their shit rocked again. But most of the time, they win the Super Bowl in those years. And I understand the past is the past. I understand that. Well, for example, let's just say the Bears, if they lost to the Bills by 7 points, no one really criticized them that much because, it's the Bills. And I'm not going to penalize the team for losing by 7 points to a Super Bowl contender. In fact, I actually got the Bills at number 1. I'm not going to penalize the team for losing by 7 points to a great team. I'm not gonna do that. I understand it might be some high, and I understand you can have your own opinions on it. I understand you can feel how you feel, but I just don't think that I can really penalize the Chiefs for losing to the Bills like that. You know, I understand. And look, I understand you may feel the way you feel. But yeah, I got the Bills I got the Chiefs at number 4 because I still think the Chiefs deserve it. You know, even if they lost, even though they did lose, I understand that. But it's not, if they got blown out, okay, that's a different story.
You talk about feel the way you feel with the Chiefs, and you're like, well, I guess still got them at number 4. Look at me, I'm real edgy. ESPN has them at number 1.
That's what I'm saying. It's like now number 1, I wouldn't put them there, but it's like, you know, I think the Chiefs are a good team, and I still think they deserve a top 5 ranking, even though they are 5-4. Hey, sometimes numbers can be deceiving. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Fraudulent asses.
Look, hey, I don't like saying. Look, I hate the Chiefs just as much as you do. Okay, but anyways, do you have anything?
It's not just hate. I think there's a lot of hate. I'm not denying that part. But they're also overrated as hell. Like it's why their dynasty pisses me off, because there's been like I'm not saying their first couple of Super Bowls they didn't absolutely deserve, but they have not been nearly as good as everybody acts like they are through pretty much the whole rest of their run of dominance. Like, winning the Super Bowl is great, but winning the Super Bowl, all it requires is going on a run. And the Chiefs are real good at going on a run. You got to give them that. Like, if that's what the criteria of being the best team in the NFL is, and it's a fair one to be, like, if that's what it is. But if that's what the criteria is, then the Chiefs are definitely the best team in the NFL. But, you know, I don't know if at the end of every single season we should like the amount that they've finished number 1 has been a lot more than they've actually been the best team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think they were the best team last year, you know. But hey, they were still in the Super Bowl, so, and they finished the best record. But I don't even know if they were a top 5 team last year, to be honest. But hey, they kept winning games. You gotta give them credit, yeah. But yeah, so the Chiefs are at 4, in my opinion, and my opinion is the one that matters. Anyways, at number 3, we got the Indianapolis Colts, man. And look, it's the same thing. I understand. Look, the score was 27-20 against Pittsburgh. But like I said, I watched most of that game. If you were watching that game, it was not a 7-point ball game. It was not. They got like a make-a-wish field goal at the end. But you're not going to win games if you turn the ball over 6 times. Okay, that's just not going to happen, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like,
I just real quick, I want to point out who in their right fucking mind would. Like they're dying and they got like a month left to live, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation comes out and this person with their most like the most impactful thing they might do on planet Earth, they're like, I want a field goal at the end of a game we're getting destroyed in.
Hey, some people might. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. But nah, I mean, the Colts are number 3. Look, I understand they just lost, and that's why I kind of penalize them, but not as much. Look, I will say this, though. Indiana Jones can't be playing like Indiana Bones next week if they want to keep winning. Okay?
More like Indiana bitch.
You still don't like this, man, do you?
No. I don't like Duke. Fuck Duke.
Fuck the Giants.
And fuck Christian Laettner.
I don't like Daniel Jones. I still hate his guts. But anyways, you got anything to add about the Colts?
No.
Well, at number 2, we got the Philadelphia cheesesteaks, man. Whew. They just killed the bye week, man. Like, they just destroyed the bye week. They beat that bye week 70-0, just like the Browns lost to their bye week 70-0. But yeah, the Eagles, man, the Eagles, the last time the Eagles played a football game, they were not number 1 in the NFC. The Eagles didn't play this weekend. They got to number 1 in the NFC. That's the definition of winning your bye week right there. But yeah, the Eagles are number 2. I don't think there's really much to be said. I mean, the Eagles are the Eagles. They got good offense, good defense whenever they actually use their offense. So, you got anything to add about the Eagles?
No, continue.
And the last team, comes as no shocker, as this is, y'all already see the rankings right now. Number 1 is the Buffalo Bills, boy! As they just beat the Chiefs, who I have as a top 5 team. Yeah, look, I think this is also one of the stuff which is self-explanatory. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. I really could just end it right there, but I'm not going to. They got James Cook, man. That man's probably a top 5 running back right now. He's playing amazing.
When does Josh Allen win a game when it matters? That's my question.
He does sometimes.
Rarely.
I mean, he's won a few playoff games before. I mean, yeah, he's never really went to the Super Bowl or anything, but like, I mean, he's made it to the AFC Championship a couple times. He's like,
oh, good. He's made it to the AFC Championship. That's what the standard is. You see in the NFL is if you go to the AFC Championship, then you're the best football team on earth.
What's the Bengals standards?
Going to the playoffs.
But
we are many people think they're making fun of us when they're like, you're a poverty franchise, and I'm like, thank you for seeing my pain.
I mean, hey,
I appreciate the recognition, sir. Now can I have some porridge?
No, Saints win Super Bowl. Y'all have yet to win the Super Bowl, but hey, if it makes you feel better,
that's what
Saints
I just said.
Saints don't get gumbo. Oh, hey, if it makes you feel better, we don't get no gumbo.
Can we get some cornbread? I want some cornbread.
Cornbread, is that for winners? Nah, cornbread's disgusting. Now you can have your cornbread.
Cornbread's disgusting. You shut your fucking mouth.
No, I hate cornbread, bro. It's so dry.
That's why you dip it in something that isn't dry.
No.
Also, you must have just not had good cornbread. Cornbread is one of the best foods out there.
I like corn and I like bread, but mixed together.
Not a big fan of corn, personally. And what else about the Bills?
Man, their defense, I mean, honestly, they're number 1, but if their defense could just play up to par or even above average, I think their team could literally go on like a 10-game winning streak. It's like, if that defense can just lock the F in, they could literally be Super Bowl champions. And that's really been it every time that they got eliminated by the Chiefs. It's like their defense, it's not like Josh Allen chokes, okay? Like, yeah, Josh Allen had a moments in playoffs, and it's like he has to play better. But in his fairness, he be putting up some numbers in the playoffs. It's not like Lamar Jackson, where he plays against the Chiefs and they can't score a touchdown to save their life. Like, Josh Allen keeps it competitive. Josh Allen tries to win them the games. But the Bills' defense just blows every time they play Mahomes. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's the case, but it is what it is. So if their defense can just play up to par or above average, their team can go on a roll. Now, will that happen? I don't fucking know.
Well, that's the one thing about being the Week 9 champs, which is what the Buffalo Bills are best at, is looking really, really good in the middle of the season and not so good when it comes to the end of the season. But anyway, there you have it. I'll flash it one more time. There's the power rankings for this week for Mikey, and next to that is ESPN, which everybody knows that ESPN always is 100% accurate and knows exactly what it's fucking talking about. So we can use Mikey's power rankings, put them next to ESPN's, so that we can clearly see the correct power rankings versus the incorrect power rankings. Well, neither. ESPN fucking sucks. But
I don't see you making no power rankings.
I made power rankings for years on this channel. I just figured I'd give somebody else the opportunity. I can make my own fucking power rankings.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I put it. But so you can go back to like the last 4 years. I had a series that like 7 people total ever watched.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, well, there you go. There you go. But anyway, that's it for power rankings this week. So now you are officially more informed, and you are perfectly prepared to watch the NFL this week and come away from it thinking, what the fuck did I just watch? Because that's been every goddamn week this week. Particularly if you're a Bengals fan, because I can't think of a single game this season where I've come out of it being like, wow, that was awesome. I guess when we beat the Steelers, that was pretty great, but that's just because we beat the Steelers, and also because
the Saints have enjoyment in this.
I don't know. Do you?
No, it's like I told the Saints. I told Mickey Loomis. There was
you personally told Mickey Loomis. You're like, hey, Mickey Loomis, my name is Mikey, as you know, because I'm very famous. And here's what I have to say about you. And Mickey Loomis was like, oh yes, Mikey, I need to hear your opinion.
Yes, I told him this. There is one guy on this team. You can trade anybody on this team except for Rashid Shaheed. And what did they do? They traded Rashid Shaheed.
Did they trade?
Don't trade.
Who'd they trade Rashid Shaheed to?
To the damn Seahawks.
That's terrible.
I hate my life. They also traded Trevor Penny, but no one cares. But it's like, bro, I said don't trade Shaheed. You could trade anybody. You could have traded Kamara, Olave. You could have fucking traded Blake Griffin, and I would have not cared. But you traded away Rashid Shaheed, the only guy I cared about.
Speaking of trading or not trading people away, I told y'all Trey Hendrickson wasn't getting traded. Like I tried to tell you guys, like whether it makes sense or not, the Bengals aren't going to do it.
Y'all traded Logan Wilson. How you feel about that?
We traded Logan Wilson because Logan Wilson wanted out, and the Bengals, when a guy busts his ass and never makes a stink or anything, but just all of a sudden gets unhappy with the team, they tend to trade him. They did the same thing with Carlos Dunlap. You know, he was a longtime veteran. He's fan favorite, and he just eventually decided he was done. Logan Wilson hasn't been around as long as Carlos Dunlap has, but I think the Bengals had about the same level of respect for Logan Wilson that they did for Carlos Dunlap, and I see it the same way I saw Carlos Dunlap. Good. You're clearly not working with the current system anymore, so I wish you the best in Dallas, but I mean, Logan Wilson got benched here. He wasn't like as bad as our defense was. He wasn't even good enough to play on our defense. Our defense is awful, and Logan Wilson couldn't even play for it. So, but we only got a 7th round pick out of it. But yeah, it is what it is. So, all right. So that's it for our for me and Mikey this week, for the most part. So, do what?
Kinda.
Well, yeah. We got the Boeskool brothers coming up with Niche Nonsense. They got an episode they put together for y'all, and so that's gonna be pretty much it for the rest of this episode. For me and Mikey, I'm gonna go ahead and play the Boeskool brothers segment, and I'll cycle through some of your comments in chat. Not all of them, because there's one person who's been commenting who I've told you I might put a couple of your comments up, but I've told you before. About the way that you comment on my channel, and you're kind of a turd. I'm not gonna give you too much attention here, but you keep putting shit like that up, and you're not gonna be welcome here anymore. I mean, I'm not gonna ban you, but you're a fucking asshole, dude. So
yeah,
if you're gonna keep doing that, then you're just gonna get yourself alienated. So if that's what you want, then fine, but. I've told you, I've talked to you. We've had a talk about this before, but I'm not sitting here trying to bring down the whole show by giving somebody a lecture on live. So I just want to point out the rest of you, and maybe even some of your comments, if there are any halfway decent ones. I'll put them up as we're doing Niche Nonsense, and might even respond to one or two of them at the end of the episode. One that I have to respond to right now, though, is the stranger is indeed correct that Mikey is eating the wrong cornbread.
No, not. Cornbread sucks.
Okay, some cornbread sucks. There is cornbread out there that is dry as fuck and awful, and I understand if that's the kind of cornbread you've had, then fair enough. But cornbread, nice moist cornbread, there's regular cornbread, which can be made really moist and delicious, and I love it. But there's sweet cornbread too, which is just thick as hell. So, disagree with you. But anyway. Anyway, we will be So we'll be back at the end of this segment, and then we'll sign off from there. So
Pelicans win.
Did they?
Yay! We won 2 games in a row.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, here's Nick and Jake.
Hey guys, it is Nick.
It's Jake.
And this is episode 9 of Niche Nonsense.
Week 9 of Niche Nonsense.
Start us off, Jake.
Yes. So we're going to start by talking about the Bengals and Bears game, which was unfortunately another unfortunate game for the Bengals.
I mean,
super high scoring though.
Kyle would have already said everything that needs to be said about that game, but I mean, people had stuff to blame for the
some people
Bengals'
thought
loss,
that
right?
the defense were to blame, and then others think we need a new coach.
Yeah, I mean, I heard all the time, like all over the place, that Zach Taylor needs to get fired.
Some people have some very out there opinions.
Oh yeah,
so,
So like,
we push for positive change around here, though. So
if we were to get rid of Zach Taylor and find somebody else, it does rise the question of who would we get instead.
Yes.
And Jake and I have a list of people that we would hire to be the new Bengals coach in place for Zach Taylor. The first one being Mr. Krabs.
Yes. Yeah.
He's
very cheap.
He's a cheap guy.
Yes.
And so, the Bengals have a reputation of being cheap, and he fits the bill perfect.
That'd
right?
be a pretty big disadvantage. It's a pretty bad thing if you're cheaping out on stuff.
Right. Maybe he's not going to be
Maybe he's not cut out for it.
Maybe somebody else can do it.
We got Light McQueen.
Yes.
More importantly,
the fabulous version when he's all blue and Dynaco and retired and everything.
It was a crew chief for Cruz Ramirez.
Racing and football are two different things, but I mean, the first
he could learn the game.
He could learn the game. The first race he coached, Cruz Ramirez ended up winning the Piston
100%
Cup.
win rate.
It's a 100% win rate right there.
Yeah.
We also think that Gru could make a good head coach from Despicable Me.
All the minions.
He commands an army of minions, and that those guys seem to be like quite the handful. Like, he can deal with them. Imagine if he gives his players freeze rays.
Captain America could also fill in for Zach Taylor. Although, like, with him, you might get worried that he's like switched to the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not him. Maybe you want the Grinch. The Grinch. In there. Has the ability to steal Christmas, so maybe he can steal some wins while he's at it. You already know he thinks outside of the box with that stuff. And since his heart grew three times the size, then he's really gonna care.
He's compassionate
for the
about all the people playing for him. Yes. We have Ash Ketchum.
He did accomplish his mission to be Pokemon Master, and Pokemon Master and football aren't the same thing, just like but some skills have got to carry over to that.
He's used to commanding people.
He's commanding a team, so he's getting it together.
Football teammate.
There we go. He can do that. Yes. We also say that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer would be a great head coach.
Yes.
He likes the Bengals if they get Rudolph, they're really like planning ahead.
Yeah, because it gets a little snowier.
Right.
As
so
the
there's some snowstorms that show up sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have Rudolph.
He gets more valuable.
Light it up.
He gets more valuable as a coach.
He's thinking ahead of the game there.
Absolutely. Next, we have Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
They overcome impossible odds and accomplish
everything.
They
would be a good head coach? Yes.
They know how to pull their team in. Yes.
Ferb, Phineas is the one like telling people like where to go, and then Ferb's like a man of action.
They have to be there together.
You can't have one without them.
Yeah. So next we got an ant. Just an ant. They work in groups all the time.
Work in groups
their whole lives.
I know they can work.
So maybe they can. Yeah, they can win football.
Maybe he can even go on top of the players' helmets and like shout stuff at them as they're like running. Who knows? No one's gonna be able to see him.
No.
And then our last person that we think could be a good head coach would be Kyle himself.
None other than Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle Phelps, the leader of the show. He's got this. You can even if we even wanted to go as far as put Kyle in there, then if we wanted to trade Joe Flacco, we could trade him for Mikey.
Yes.
And then both of you guys could be on
both of them. Both of them can get on there.
It is time for our predictions.
Yes, we've made it to our predictions.
The first one
of these head coaches will take over everything
if somebody that we
mentioned.
set up above,
one of them
will be taking
That's
over.
One of our predictions.
And it's your guess to see who it is.
Exactly.
Leave your guess in the comments to see who's the next head coach going to be out of the options that we said.
Or another one. If you have another idea who you would replace.
We know that we have some insider information. We know that the Steelers are planning on getting a new head coach.
Who are they going to get?
It's Thanos.
They're going to get Thanos.
So the Bengals have got to prepare ahead of time for that.
If they want to prepare for a Thanos-led team.
Yeah.
Yes.
The final prediction that we have is every game on Saturday will be played with shoes untied. Every player is going to have their shoes untied.
Every coach, every team, they're just going to play with their shoes untied. And there we go. So that's all we got for this week. See you guys.
Okay, here we go. I did not realize that was going to end that fucking quickly. So, Mikey, we are now done with the episode, apparently, because Nick and Jake just kind of abruptly ended that. I did not see that coming that quickly. But, yeah, so let's go through some of these comments like I said I would. And not really a whole lot to be had, but obviously Mikey's eating the wrong cornbread. That's just going to be canon from now on. Sweet cornbread with butter. I never really put butter on it. I just like the sweet cornbread as is. I don't really eat sweet cornbread like these days. I
really only eat like buttery popcorn. That's the only butter I really. Or sometimes on my pancakes, but that's about it. So.
Dude, I need to eat less butter. I that's one of God's gifts to humanity is butter, and I need to eat much less of stuff like that because I'm like 33, and this is what happens when you get old. But good lord, some fucking cornbread and some good butter, like, oh my god. I'm making myself hungry, and it's like 11 o'clock at night. That's not great. Daniel Barry obviously came in here saying Happy Wednesday. Gotta love Daniel Barry. Don't think I'm stupid for saying the Bengals will be good this year. It's the orange-colored glasses we all wear.
At least you ain't
but it's
your own valuable possession.
Look, I'm pretty sure we would be 1-8 if Joe Burrow had been hurt from the beginning of the season. Like,
no, because you won 2 games with Joe Burrow.
That's what I'm saying. If it hadn't been for Joe Burrow, even though the offense wasn't very good at the time, if it hadn't been for if we were starting the season with Jake Browning, then we'd be 1-8 right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure if the Chiefs started their season without Mahomes, I'm sure they would be 1-8 too. And I'm pretty sure if the Bills started their season without Josh Allen, they would be 1-8 too.
I don't know if I think it's true though. I think the Bills and the Chiefs have much better overall balance than we do. Like our offense is incredible, but when we can score 42 points if we need to. Why the fuck not? But then our defense gives up 49. Like, what are we supposed to fucking do with that?
No, they only gave up 47 this week.
Okay. I'm gonna skip through most of his comments because he's pissing me off. And like I said, we've had a talk, motherfucker. And I told you what was okay and what wasn't okay as far as, like, I'm okay with most stuff, but I'm not okay with you coming in here and pushing your own shit and being a fucking dick to people. Like if you want to advertise your own shit, then you gotta contribute. But I will say, Jim agreed that the Chiefs are ranked way too high. So fuck the Chiefs. And then Stranger said the Chiefs had the advantage of being in a powder puff division for years. That's true. That's true. I mean, they might not win the AFC West this year, honestly. And it's not because they're not any good. It's because they're 2 games behind the Broncos.
Yeah, do you remember after the 21 season? I remember going into 2022, everyone was like, "Man, the AFC West is the division to watch out for." Broncos just traded for Russell Wilson. Chargers got Khalil Mack, and they got everybody coming back.
Yes, at the beginning of the season before we had seen any results.
Yeah, and then it just ended up being the Chiefs.
Well, yes, but this is halfway through the season, and the Chiefs are the 3rd team in the division. The Broncos and Chiefs, like I said earlier, the Broncos don't feel like a 7-2 team to me, but they are a 7-2 team, and the Chargers are winning a bunch of games too. So,
may God rest his soul.
Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's still alive.
Man, he's not alive over here.
Is he disliked in New Orleans now or something?
No, I like them. That don't mean other people like them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, these episodes are not normally planned to go on for an hour, but obviously this is a new version of the format, and we're really just kind of playing around and seeing what works. So maybe next week we'll only go for 20 minutes. I don't know, because that's ultimately the plan's only to go for like 20 minutes to a half an hour. So we only got to cut out half of the entire episode to get there. So I don't have the outro queued up, so I will just leave y'all as always with a who dat.
Who dat?
That's not that fucking show, you motherfucker.
What? You're the what?
This isn't who dat versus who dat.
I don't care.
You're not allowed to support your team on this show.
What? No, you say who dat, I say who dat. I don't care what show it is. I don't care if we're talking about a war in Jamaica. I'll always say who dat if you say who dat.
I think if there's a war going on in Jamaica and you go around shouting who dat, then you're probably an asshole.
Well, technically you would have said who dat first, so you know.